Le micro-ordinateur VG5000 Philips est un ami qui vous accompagnera dans votre appétit de jouer, dans votre appétit de créer, dans votre appétit d'apprendre. Dans ce monde fascinant de la micro-informatique, vous évoluerez ensemble, vous et le VG5000 Philips, le micro-ordinateur complice.
Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy. This is something a little bit different. You don't see them that often. This is the Philips VG5000. Created by Philips back in '84, and it was manufactured in Le Mans in France by Radial Technique, sold under the Philips, Radiola and Schneider brands, featuring a Z80 4MHz processor and a Thomson EF9385 processor. Yeah, it wasn't compatible with any other systems. Instead, it offered Microsoft Basic at boot and was primarily aimed at schools, but it never really took off and it was discontinued back in '86. So really only a 2-year lifespan. Only 40 games were ever produced, so you certainly weren't buying this as a games machine either. I have been collecting these things for a while, pretty much anything and everything, and I thought it was about time we looked at something a little bit different. The key thing is, it's an AZERTY keyboard. It's not a QWERTY keyboard as you would normally expect to see. Obviously, having a computer is one thing, but you also need a power supply. So the first thing we're going to do is crack open the power supply, have a look, and see what we find inside. So unlike a number of power supplies at the time, it actually features an on-off switch, which is quite nice. Nice to see I can unplug here, disconnect this, and lift at least the power in out of the system. So let's do that. I don't see any screws holding the main board down, and then we can lift this out. So there we are, we're down to the bare system. A number of caps all over the place, and a voltage regulator of some form or description. By the looks of it, the voltage regulator is held in on its heatsink as well, so what I may do is just lift the entire thing off. Now, nice to see they actually used a thermal compound. They didn't just shove that into place with the spring clip. Actually, I wonder how easy that spring clip is to get off. Because obviously if that'll come off, it'll make removing that voltage regulator much easier. So let me see what caps I've got, and we'll desolder these and replace them. So now that that's all been done and recapped, we can go on to testing. I've cleaned up all the cables, all nice and clean, shiny, sparkly, and that's just using some SIF, some GIF, whatever you want to call it, on a sponge. That cleaned up really nicely, and so did this cable. So let's plug this back in and find out, first of all, if this power supply works. Now, this is being done outside the case. I'm going to have 240 volts in here and 240 volts out here. So yeah, I'm going to be very careful about how I do this. Do not do this at home. If you're unsure, get a professional to do it. Alternatively, you could pop it back into its case. However, for myself, I want to test directly on these points here. And for me, the only way to do that is to have it sat like this, which will make life a little bit more interesting. First thing I'm going to do is power on and hope nothing goes bang. So far nothing's gone bang. Am I getting any form of output here? So it would appear that the power supply is on. And I'm getting 5 volts on red. I'm going to guess that's meant to be maybe 12 volts on yellow. And minus 11.5 volts, so minus 12 volts on green. That's maybe a bit low, but hopefully it's enough for testing. I'm going to power this down. I am not going to touch the back of this. This is live for one. Switch off the power. These capacitors can hold a charge for a very long time. So I'm not going to touch the back of this at all, because some of those caps are like 400 volts. Not good for you. So let me unplug from the mains and let me short the 400 volt cap. It's gone, it's discharged. Let's rebuild the power supply back into its nice cleaned case. So with this power supply now done, let's pop it to the side. So let's look at how we get into the main computer, the VG5000. On the back there are 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws. So let's pop them off to start with. Ooh. So this wants to fall apart. Top casing is separate. It does contain a light pipe because there's a little LED down here. Now a light pipe is just a clear plastic tube that guides the light up. So it's guiding it up from there. Now, interesting, we've got 2 circuit boards. They are held in with sprung clips, which means these are probably going to be quite brittle. There is a ribbon which will be soldered in and held down with these strips, 1, 2, and there is a ribbon for the keyboard. So I need to very carefully lift up. Here is the ribbon, and I need to very carefully remove that because it looks like this keyboard, while you could take it apart, is plastic welded, plastic rivets. So to get this off I would have to break all of those, and that's if these cables are available. The foam pads I think are dead because that's so flat it's unbelievable. So let's carefully remove this. That's tight. That is very tight. Oh, it's ridiculously tight, and not helped by this bracket being in the way. Sorry about the exposure on the camera, nothing I can do with this at the moment. and that pulled up straight, and other than some discoloration on the ribbon, that looks okay. I may give that a gentle clean before I put it back together. It does also mean cleaning this keyboard is going to be quite awkward because we can't take this off and wash this, so that will need to be done with isopropyl alcohol and lots of elbow grease. So if we look at the original outer casing, this end is marked tape, so we can assume we've got power and video here. Quite a small dinky circuit board, and because they've decided to clip it with 90-degree clips here, these sprung clips will have to both be done to be able to get this to come out, which is a bit of a pain. However, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 caps to replace. This one's also going to be a pain because 1, 2 clips and it'll need to rotate that way and come out. Yeah, they don't make it easy. Not in the slightest. Missed a cap. So let's see if we can get this out without breaking anything. So that worked out quite well. They are incredibly fragile at this age. I'm glad they came out without breaking. Once I've worked on this, I just hope they go back in without breaking. And at first glance, it's nice to see all the main chips socketed. Very, very unusual. So let's see if we can get all these replaced without damaging this. Sometimes that's easier said than done. So just before we do the final capacitors, as usual, I needed a few more, so I had to order them, and I do go to Techie Kid, I have said in a previous video, and I hadn't told him what was going on, and yet I still get a wee handwritten note saying good luck with the projects. Cheers Martin, your stuff is superb. So let's now crack on, fit these, and hopefully that will be the end of this. So with everything recapped, let's make sure the casing is nice and clean, and then we can go to reassembly. So initially I thought I could maybe clean this and leave the foam, but the foam is so deteriorated it's just not even remotely worth saving. So I'm going to clean all this off as well. I do not have any replacement foam, unfortunately, not at the moment, so I'm going to be doing reassembly without the foam, but I'll order some just plain sticky back foam, and I'll redo this at a later date. Well, this is always the most nerve-wracking section for me. Have I done everything right? Hopefully I have. And now we get to see the fruits of the labours. So we're on SCART. I'm using a SCART cable directly out the back of the Phillips into the the telly. Let's see what happens when we power on. Absolutely nothing, because I need to switch it on at the mains. Hold on. Let's try that again. Will I get a beep? And I'm getting a display! Yay! We've got the power LED. Wow, that does blow everything out a little bit in the way of colour. Superb. Let's check this keyboard. So with the keyboard all working, that's a big win. I'll need to get a tape lead and actually be able to load something in. That would be fun. And there we are, the traditional hello world. So thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Big thumbs up if you can, because yeah, that definitely helps. But a big thank you from a very French Philips VG5000 this time. A little bit different, hope you enjoyed it. Take care, see you on the next Retro Crazy.